Hi, it's Julie from the PMFRC. Thank you all so much for joining us. We are back with more Fireside Chats, and we are very excited to announce that you will be seeing us a lot more often. We have so many exciting things happening between now and the end of March, and we want to make sure that you know all about them because there's a lot more for you to enjoy. I am here today with Claudia Beswick, as always, and we're also joined by Louise Anderson, who is the Veteran Family Program Coordinator here at the PMFRC. I'm going to let Louise talk about her program and her upcoming event talk in just 1 second. But Claudia, as always, do you and I want to talk about what's happening at the PMFRC?
Absolutely. I know, Julie, you're spearheading a lot of events coming up for the end of March and a couple of things for March break. So I'll turn it over to you to go through the list.
So very excited about that. We have a health and wellness fair coming up on March the 4th. This is the first time that we have really been able to open our doors and let people come through. It's going to be at the Southside Community Center. We are also very excited to be partnering with our friends at PSP and Health Promotions. We've got some nutrition workshops happening. We've got demos of PSP programs. We'll have information tables talking about services that we provide at PSP and Health Promotions provide to help you and your family with your mental health, physical health, emotional well-being. We're also going to be setting up the special needs portable sensory room. So between 9 and 2, you can drop in whenever. We would love to see you. We have a couples workshop coming up at the end of March. This is really going to be focused on helping couples to work on those communications tools. It is no secret that Garrison Petawawa has some deployments coming in the near future. So those are always a challenge to relationships. So this is a great time to work on those communications tools, those communication strategies as you come up to a deployment, live through them, and then as you reintegrate at the end. If you have a deployment in your future sometime, we would love to tell you about the programs that we have to offer, but we'd like to do it in a more fun way. March break at the museum. If you are looking for something to do with your kids on the 15th of March, we are hosting a day at the Garrison Petawawa Museum. Walk around with your kids. We have different activity stations set up. We've got different information sessions set up. It's a great time to get the family together. And by Wednesday, you're usually looking for something to do with the little ones on March break. So we would love to help you with that. We have 3 different age groups, and that sort of helps you decide what activities there are, make sure there's something appropriate for your kids. So we'll put the link below with that. If OutCam is in your future, we have a workshop coming up to talk about the education systems, the guidance counseling that's available, and the programs to help with that. We all know province to province, we have issues with education, but when you leave the country, it's exacerbated even further, and there are supports available. We have 3 emotional toolkit workshops coming up. These are kids. This is a program for kids, and it's really is actually a box with an emotional toolkit to help give kids tools to work on those emotional regulation skills. There's a lot of big feelings when you're a kid, and sometimes it's hard to know what to do with them when you're an adult as well. But this is only for the kids. We've got 3 different age groups from 5 to 7, 8 to 12, and 13 to 17. I'm going to put all those links below. The last thing I want to talk about is on the 30th of March, we are doing a workshop with a counselor out of Toronto to talk about co-parenting. This is a hot topic issue for a lot of people. It sometimes can be very difficult to set up a co-parenting strategy that's successful. We want to help you with that. Talk about ways that you could do this more effectively. It's more geared to the parents of preteens and teens, but I'm sure there's something that everybody can learn from. So again, that is going to be below. And I'm going to pass over to talk about one more event with Louise. But before we do, Louise, why don't you actually tell us what the Veteran Family Program is? Because we're going to be talking about the forum you have coming up, but I think it's important to sort of like lay that groundwork. What is it that you do with the Veteran Family Program?
So the Veteran Family Program exists across all of the MFRCs in Canada, and there's 32 of our week coordinators. We support medically releasing Canadian Armed Forces members, medically released veterans, and their families to return to civilian life with as little impact as possible. My role is really enhanced information and referral, and I support and advocate as well so that individuals impacted by a medical release can get help navigating the let's not joke about this. It's a complex release process, so I can help with that. We also offer national programming. So we have mental health first aid. We've been offering it virtually since COVID. It's a one-day session, and it's got 15 participants in it, and you learn how to have difficult conversations around what mental health impact and how it impacts your family. It's like it's much like physical first aid, but it's for mental health. So it teaches you different ways of de-escalating a panic attack, those kinds of things. We also have couples overcoming PTSD every day. You may know it as COPE. It's a retreat for 5 days with 5 couples. The couples work on their communication. They work individually, they work in groups, and they work as a couple. We also have Care for the Caregiver, which is an online resource for someone who's supporting a person with an injury or a mental health issue. Spousal Resiliency Program is for spouses. It's a 4-day retreat where they go away with other spouses living in like circumstances and learn how to become resilient again or more. We have also the Family Information Line 24/7, mental health support, crisis intervention, bilingual, confidential. That's a really good tool. And we have the Veteran Family Journal, which is it's a binder, and it has a variety of information in there. We can personalize it just for you, and it helps to organize all of that paperwork you're going to get from all the people that you're going to see during your resource or your release process. Sorry. For more information on any of these, you can connect with me, and my contact information will be pinned in the comments.
So I will put that in the comments. I'm also going to sort of mention that Louise does have a newsletter that comes out quarterly. So if you want to get updates on when that mental health first aid is coming, when those workshops are planned, you can sign up for that and get a quarterly email from her to talk about those programs. You touched a little bit when you were going through talking about the complexity of the process when you're going through a lease. And there's so many parties that are involved, different groups that people are going to, and sometimes it can feel like it's a bit of a whirlwind knowing where to go next, but also knowing who to talk to, how to get a hold of them, and who's the right contact. With that in mind, can you tell us a little bit about the forum, what it is, and what people why we put it together?
Okay. So the objective of the afternoon is to bring together a variety of national and community service partners. We want to generate an information network of various services that will be available to support our medically releasing and veteran community. I strongly suggest that spouses, family members come as well, because you will also have questions and you're quite far removed from the process itself. So it's a venue where you can ask your questions and get information directly from the people who are supporting your person throughout the journey and afterwards. The event is from 1 to 4, and it's at the Southside Community Center. At the very beginning, we're going to have a panel discussion with representatives from our national organizations, and they'll be able to respond to questions and concerns. I'd love it to be a two-way conversation back and forth, where you can ask your questions, you can ask follow-up questions, and you can let them know what your experience has been. And I'm hoping that that will generate ideas on maybe how to make it a little bit easier, or at least give them an insight into what your experience has been. And afterwards, there's going to be a meet and greet with local service providers to create, again, an environment of learning and collaboration. There'll be information, you'll learn about existing resources, and it's an opportunity for us to discuss one-on-one about your situations more privately than asking in an audience and panel situation.
So we frequently talk on this chat about no door is the wrong door. Essentially, the forum, we're just bringing all of the doors, and you can go from table to table and ask those questions of the people who have the answers. You're not sort of sending in an email and hoping for a reply. Those people are there, and you can have those conversations. And it's an opportunity to even see how services work together in that panel discussion, because sometimes there's a bridge from one group to the other, and sometimes you're not necessarily sure how that bridge happens. This is a great time for everybody to talk together about the complementary services. And sometimes, there's a service that one party is offering that's maybe not right for you, but these are the people that can help you with. So That being said, if you come to the forum and you're not sure who you talk to, come back to us. We will see if we can put you in the right direction. We're bringing you all the doors, but ours is always still open. You talked about panelists, you talked about information tables. Who's going to be there? If somebody is looking to connect with, who can they connect with when they get there?
So we have, I have someone from the CAF-TC. I have someone from VAC. I also have Wounded Warriors, which is an amazing program to help our soldiers and families. I will have a nurse case manager. I will have someone from Manulife for the voc rehab piece. I will also have somebody from the base personnel selection office and me, the panel.
Now, who can attend this session? You talked about
And then,
spouse.
around the room.
Go ahead.
No, go for it.
No, the question I had was, we talked about voc rehab, we talked about the nurse case managers. Does the person have to be released to attend, or is it better to start early and ask these questions?
It's better to start early to ask these questions. It's for anybody who's medical release or has gone through a medical release. I try to get people from kind of both sides. When you're the BPSO is important because of career decision making. The CAFD can follow you through, and then afterwards as well, they can still provide support. Again, with respect to your rehab, you have 2 years of training that you can go to with them, and they'll top you up for 90% of your pension while you're going. Nurse case manager. So how can they help to determine what kind of a career would be beneficial for you based on your injury? And Laura DeRuiter, VAC, they have all of the benefits and everything. So I tried to kind of balance it with all of that.
I'm sorry, I cut you off. Are there other information tables that I didn't let you get to?
Yes, I have invited many, and I have 3 confirmed so far. My 6th, service dogs, which, because I love the dogs, but their service is so good. And OSIS is confirmed as well, and we have a variety of MFRC staff that's going to be there as well.
Thank you. Claudia, all these community partners are there. One of the focuses that the PMFRC has, one of our priorities is engaging with community stakeholders and community partners. Why is this so important in the way that we serve families?
I'll talk about that, and I'll talk about it in the aspect of all of the MFRC programs, not just specific to the Veteran Family Program, but the key for us to support the modern military family is based on all the many relationships and partnerships that we have established, both locally within the community and base resources. But fundamentally, it just really enhances what the MFRC can provide. And we need to do that in order to be effective in our service delivery. We know that MFRC can't provide every level of service that a family may need. That's not our job. But our job is to work within the community to raise that awareness about what some of those unique stressors are that they're dealing with, and develop that partnership and how we can all support the CAF community. We don't duplicate a service that's already there. We essentially work with many of the key local organizations, promote their services, and connect the families and the partners together to add that additional level of support. And all of our base and community partners are linked to our organization. We share many of the same values, drawing awareness of the great services that are available. Julie has already said this. She says this many, many times. No door is the wrong door. We'll facilitate that warm handover with families to those resources if wherever they need to go, and if they would like us to do that. For all of us to be successful, we really need to extend our reach and our impact, and we have a common goal, and that's to support the clients that we serve. In sustaining all of those various relationships and partnerships, it really helps us to explore and identify new strategies and new ways of doing that, and new ways of supporting the families in however we can. Ultimately, want to listen to the family where their needs are and do what we can to provide that level of support.
The forum that we're having is a format that we use a lot at the PMFRC, inviting people in to have that community discussion, have conversations with different stakeholders, giving the opportunity to talk to other people. Conversations like this, why are they important to us? And when people come and they sit down and they ask questions and they tell us about the barriers they're facing, what do we do with that information? Why are these conversations important, and how can we use that feedback?
These conversations help us to discover common values. What are we offering, or what are we hoping to offer? What are the families or the VFP clients in this case? What would they like to see? It allows everyone to express any concerns, tell us what's working, what's not working, where are you seeing gaps and barriers of service? So with that information that we get from the families, we'll take it back to the team and say, how can we help? And interestingly enough, in these forums, a conversation may come up, and Louise is right when she says she targets those families that are medically releasing, or even thinking of medically releasing. What does medically releasing mean? And maybe part of that isn't necessarily about the release, but let's say in her conversation, something comes up about a family is struggling with mental health supports, or a family is struggling a little bit because a member has just come back from deployment. We take this back to the team to say, where are those gaps and barriers, and what can we do to provide additional support? Or how do we get the information out to the families that they can reach us when they need to? There's a lot of access points for support, and this forum gives us the opportunity to get those thoughts, those views, and specific topics, in this case, the VFP, especially to the medically releasing and the medically released veterans. We understand that it's a complex process. Louise has already identified that. And this forum helps us build a better awareness about the importance of all the partnering organizations, what they do, what they offer, how to access their services. They're there to answer questions, and how collectively we can inform and support the families throughout the transition. And that's ultimately the goal. The information that comes back to us, we share depending on who's the most relevant organization that can provide that support. I think the biggest piece is getting that information out there so the families know who they can reach out to. And if this is our fourth, I think, forum. Is that what you said, Julie?
Yep.
So I think at the end of the day, like, we are getting better every year that we put these on, and it's more comfortable for people to be willing to come and talk to us. We're just happy to be able to see people in person, or do a hybrid approach with the virtual. However is best for you to interact and engage with us, let us know, and we will do what we can to make that happen.
And I think one of the keys there is that every family is so different. I've learned anything at the MFRC is every family is unique. We all have our own circumstances, our own makeups, different values, and different needs. And by opening our doors to so many different partners, we can help you sort of come up with a solution or a plan that's customized for your family. Sort of, who can we hook you up with so you can get the information and support that you need? There are programs out there. There are supports that are out there, and we want to make sure that if your family has a concern, that we can hook you up with the people that can help you get you through that. Quick questions for you, Louise. How do you register? Do you have to register?
You don't have to register. I don't want to put an extra step in the way of anybody coming, so yes, you can drop in.
And if you want to tell Louise you're coming, she'd be thrilled to have you.
Oh, most thrilled. Yes.
If somebody wanted to ask more information, get more information, how do they get a hold of you?
Through my email and my phone number down below.
Okay. And what if somebody is coming to the panel discussion and they are not the kind of person who wants to ask a question? Is it possible for them to send you a question in advance and maybe have you ask it?
Most definitely. And Claudia will ask it. Claudia will have a bank of questions that are pre-prepared. And if you wish your question to be asked on your behalf, and we will not identify you, we will definitely do that. Because if you have a question, somebody else probably has the same one, right? So, and it's always hard to get the wheel rolling. You don't want to be the first one. You don't want to sound silly. So we'll have a bank, we'll ask some questions, and then hopefully everybody else will participate. and ask their questions.
So March the 7th, 1 o'clock is when the panel discussion starts. And then after the panel, we will still be open. So you can go to the information tables, talk to people individually. We're at the Southside Community Center in Petawawa. So that's 1578 Wolf Avenue. It's on the south side of base by the small little Canucks there. And don't have to register. Just feel free to drop by and come by and have a conversation either with us or with one of the many people that are coming. We are going to be back next week, and we're going to be talking to our partners at Health Promotions at PSP about the health fair, who's going to be there, what you can expect. There are door prizes coming. We can tell you about that. There's an event on Facebook that I'll put the link below so you can check that out. Claudia, do you have something you want to add?
I do. I just want to circle back to something that you said in the beginning when you were going through the upcoming stuff. The education management presentation is not just for OutCan. I know a lot of people know that it is formally just for OutCan, but it is extended to provide some other tools and resources. So if there are families interested in learning how to support their children through the education and what resources are out there, then they should check in. It is not just for OutCan. Sorry, I had a pre-brief, so I don't think you were aware of that. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
You learn something every day. I'm glad you pointed that out. We will make sure that that is shared with people. Have a wonderful day. Thank you very much for joining us. We will be back next week, and we have a couple of other sessions lined up. We got a lot of important and exciting things happening in our community. We are ramping back up, and we are excited to see people in person. So thanks for joining us, and we look forward to talking to you next week.